Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Not going to be in anybody's way. No, but I believe Mark is filming right now, and it's live. So this is going out live on the Mark Sargent's YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it while you're here and ask some questions on the YouTube channel, they'll come up, and we can do it towards the end. But listen, firstly, can I say welcome back again? Tonight it is Flat Earth Social number 40. So we're really, really chuffed, to be fair. Now, last month we left you in the hands of. Before we get cracking with that, I've got a couple of announcements. Sorry, Martin, stand up. Stand up, please, Martin. He comes from Birmingham every week. It's Martin's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ryan. Happy Flat Earth Social birthday. And you'll see some cake and everything. Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Hey! He's only 21. There's some cake over there and bits and bobs to help yourself if you right. So last month we had the wonderful Dawn Lester. Left you in the hands of a wonderful lady and flat earther and what makes you all supremo. And then I thought, well, what could possibly happen in a month's time between now and the next one? It turns out we went home and World War III started, so that was quite good. But there was some good news. Moving forward, there was a little bit more going in the month. Our good friend Alex Michael, conspiracy music guru, put out that he's having another one of his super amazing do's in Spain. We've got Dave and Andrea here as well at the back there. Hi. They're going to be doing a wraparound event for it. He's coming to come over here. Hi. Dave. Hi, Dave.
Thanks. So, yeah, just so you know, me and Alex, we plotted this thing a few years ago, and here we are with the opportunity to bring people together for 4 days in Spain this September. The primary day is Alex's Guru Gathering at a venue, and then Andrea and I have acquired a 5-acre villa where we got with pool and music, juice bar that we're going to be laying on, meal, and a whole lot of entertainment and other things, but more about the gathering, because last time it was about the gathering of people coming together like this. And so we've called it The Gathering, and that's from September 21st till the 24th.
It is indeed. Thanks, Dave. It's in a place called Sabia. Havea, in the district of Sabia. Right, okay. It's going to be a fantastic event. All the details are on the Flat Earth Social Telegram channel and everywhere else.
I've got cards that I can give to people with
perfect. Hand the cards out, Dave. So that's good. That's coming. So that'll be a fantastic thing in September. If it's anything like the last one, there's a few people that went with us as well. It was insane, and it will be the best thing you spend your money on this year. I can tell you that. Good. And then, of course, we had a total surprise back in, earlier this month when Jim Carrey changed. Did you see that? You see that? He changed into another version. I couldn't believe it. We had a puffy version and someone with different eye colour. How mad was that? So that was sort of early March, I don't think they really care anymore. They're putting them out like that. They don't care anymore. Well, the war went well. That started really well with an enormous bomb on an all-girls school, which killed them all. So that was a fantastic thing, right? And I remember seeing, earlier in the month, Iranians burning statues of Baal. Did you see that? Insane times. And that was really all before we got stuck into March. And of course, we had the delayed Artemis mission, which we're going to talk with Mark a little bit more about. That's more insane than anything else. They're not going to send people to Mars anymore, but they're going to do something tomorrow on April Fool's Day. Absolute insane. You couldn't really make it up. And then, of course, the war showed us a little bit more of their AI when Netanyahu was up there doing his press conferences with his extra fingers. Did you see that? Unbelievable stuff going on there. And of course, there's no mainstream media coverage of the Epstein files anymore. That's all gone. So replaced with the war. There's a new COVID strain coming out, which you can get a jab along with your new meningitis thing that's going on, right? Honestly. But now that sort of brings me round to where we are. Just a short recap. And tonight, a gentleman that needs no real introduction. For those of you who are in the Flat Earth movement at all, you will know who Mark Sargent is. For those who don't know who Mark Sargent is, he's probably an original Flat Earther for the time now that we're all experiencing Flat Earth again. In 2014, Mark woke up and started to wake everybody else up with a set of something called Flat Earth Clues, which if you are just delving into this subject, go and watch them all. They will help you immensely. And since then, he's been doing every talk show, every mainstream media thing. He's one of the most popular Flat Earthers there is. And it's our very special guest tonight. So please give a Flat Earth social welcome to Mr. Mark Sargent. Might be a little bit longer than we thought. Hold on, he's coming.
There I am. Can you hear
Mark,
me?
you're nearly there.
Can you hear me?
It's warming up. Hey! Mark, let me just move this over there. I don't know if it'll be there. And I'll just put that one there. See. Mark, welcome to Flat Earth Social, number 40. How you doing?
Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to be here at Flat. Is it 40 in this location? It's not 40 in total, obviously.
It's 40 in
Oh,
total.
it's 40.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because you do it every month. That's right. It's 40. It's
Yeah,
40
it's a
months.
monthly thing.
For the yeah. Awesome.
We're having a bit of a problem with the sound. Can anybody hear Mark?
What?
Just about. Hold on a second, Mark.
Hang on. I'll crank up my mic as well. 1 second.
You can crack that up. There we go.
Hang on. Can you hear me a little better now? How about now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. If we're all quiet enough, we can all hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
How are you?
I'm good. And for those of you who are looking, no, I have not taken Ozempic. Yes, I have lost.
I was thinking that.
a
Did you hear that, Mark? They were saying they were thinking you had it there.
A little weight. Well, the last time I talked to you, I went down from, I'm going to have to convert it for you because I know you guys, from 107 kilos to 88 kilos. Wow. So there you go. And the reason. Yeah, and the reason why I did it, no, absolutely wasn't. No, I lost it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, was because people kept circulating that Philip and Holly interview that I did. I don't know if you guys ever watched it. And I've listened to it. I was like, yeah, it sounds great. Oh my God. I was like, as soon I could only see it so many times. Like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with the snacks. I'm done with all that stuff. So that was it. I basically just cut out snacks, exercised more. Nothing serious. Took a
Well,
while.
you're looking better for it, Mark. You're looking better for it, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mark, there's a lot happened in the world. Even just in that last month I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't want to jump straight into it, but what I do want to say is that for the last 11 years, you've been doing your own shows, and the most successful version of that is Strange World.
Yes.
And how many episodes are you on now?
Tonight is 567. Hang on, 500. No, I'm sorry, 558. 558 weeks.
And that's a weekly show, right?
Yeah, weekly show. So 558 weeks. Long time.
What's that? 10 years? 10 years.
Almost
More
11.
than 10 years. Yeah.
Almost 11 years. Yeah.
And you've seen everything from the Patricia Steer through, back out, inside, and everything, right? So
yeah.
tell us who's your favourite guest on there, Mark, and how's that developed for you?
My favorite guest on the show? On Strange World, my favorite guest is a regular recurring guest, which is guitarist Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones. Yes. That's one of my favorites because he is one of the only celebs that never backed down, never wavered. He's always, all in, all conspiracies all the time. And he's been on the show, I think, 9 times. And it's a blast. And I get to, whenever he comes to town with the band, Deftones are still touring. I'm crossing my fingers they make it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think they will. And so yeah, he's by far my favorite guest. Favorite co-host, other than my current co-host DJ Curious, who I know is watching at this very second.
Hey DJ.
Would be yeah, he's in there somewhere. He's fabulous. Which would be Patricia Steer, because I completely underestimated her. Absolutely underestimated her. And if you guys know the story, the fact that she got back in a couple of years ago and then left right after episode 500 and completely left the conspiracy world entirely. There's some wonderful episodes on that. I won't get into it. We just don't have the time. But you want drama. That woman, I completely underestimated her. Will never do that again.
Now Mark hates all women.
I don't trust him. No. No.
Let me just going back through some of your shows, Mark.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dave's on there a lot.
Dave?
We see Dave on there a bit.
I don't know who you speak of. Who's this Dave guy? Dave.
Yeah,
David Weiss. David Weiss, the most
exactly 6
overrated.
marshmallows.
What?
I said, I don't know, but his wife will be going to bed soon with 6 marshmallows.
Yeah. And by the way, that bit has never gotten old with me. I've had so much fun with that. That started out, it wasn't even my idea. Dave just messaged me one time. It's like, you need to mention Paige so she can go to bed, because she only listens to the point where you mention her. It's like, okay, sure, let's do that. And so it's not a regular thing. It's part of the show.
We're also running a competition for the best David Weiss impression. So if you on the Telegram group, there's a voice thing. So if you want to just go on there at any point and leave your David Weiss impression, and then we're going to pick the winner and we're going to send it to Dave.
Nice. Well, you know who does, honestly, if you want Dave Weiss impressions, DJ and I, we take a crack at it almost every show, at least
it's pretty good.
Yeah, DJ's excellent, by the way. And that's because we got to hang out with him in Arizona at the Truth Expo. So Dave had his table right in front of ours, and so we were just bouncing stuff back and forth. And oh no, he's hilarious. I love Dave.
Mark, what is the Truth Expo? Tell us a little bit about that. I see it, but obviously we're miles away from all that. So sometimes it's hard for us to follow what happens over there.
It is one of the current running FE conferences in the United States. It's down in a little corner in the southwest part of Arizona, and in the middle of nowhere, and it's a little town down there, and called Quartzsite. You can look it up. It's very, very small, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of speakers, and they're still building. Carol with the K is already doing her thing and advertising it for it this year. And I encourage anybody, if you're in the States, please go. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet people, and it is a good time. I had by all.
Excellent. Mark, there's so many things to talk about over the years with Flat Earth, but there's an awful lot of current things, and I want to just draw your attention. We mentioned it earlier about Artemis. There's so much. I know. Give me your whole thing on it, Mark, will you?
Okay. So Artemis 2, which is the first manned mission out of Earth orbit since 1972. And it is something we've been, again, our community has been picking on NASA for over a decade, and we've been just ripping them to shreds and saying, why haven't you gone back? I mean, 1972 to now is a long time, incredibly long time. And some of you weren't even born, when the whole thing went down. And every president since going back, even before Reagan, like to Carter, every president since Carter forward says, "Oh, we're committed to going back to the moon." I mean, Reagan and Nixon and both Bushes and Clinton and Obama, and it just goes on. They've also we're going back to the moon. Nobody, and this one, they kicked the can down the road a couple times, and we thought it was done a couple months ago. But what I want to preface it with is kind of part of the theme for this whole thing I'm going to be talking about today, which is this year is very, very special because it's America 250. 250 years of the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, the ultimate UK spinoff. Thanks, guys. Really, really great. No, seriously, that's what we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. And because of that, everything is on the table. Everything about the war is different. Everything about NASA is different. And I've encouraged, for ever since last year, I said, I really hope they do it this year. I really, really hope they actually go for broke, because if they do, there's so many other distractions because 2026, which I call Act 3, everything's on the table. Nothing is out of bounds. I mean, it is nuts this year, and it's only March. We're just, tomorrow is April Fool's Day, which again is not lost on me. So, in fact, just before we connected, a listener sent me a thing, and he goes, "Hey, Mark, what is the most likely for Artemis?" Ready? Five options. A, kick the can to 2027. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, why not? B, launch with 4K footage for all or most of the trip. C, phone call from the lunar surface to Trump with a 4-second delay. So it proves they went to the moon. But app C cannot happen because they're not landing on the moon. A lot of Americans don't even know this. This is just a slingshot around the moon, which has not been done since 1972, right? So that's obviously not going to happen. D, rocket blows up on the launch pad, huge tragedy and setback with next launch no longer than 2020, no sooner than 2029. Very, very possible. Very, very possible. That would be the big dramatic one. And it kind of fits in with the whole war thing because, the war may or may not be going well. We'll talk about that. And then E, launches. This is one of mine, and DJ's a fan of this, but unusual activity with UFOs causing the mission to be aborted, but everyone returns safely home. Yeah. That's the one. You want some fun. Have them like 3/4 of the way to the moon, and then all of a sudden they, you hype it up. Hey, what's that off to the side there? Hey, we see lights. And then, this fuzzy thing because they have to break out their phones or whatever and start recording it and streaming it back. And that's the one I want is some sort of UFO activity. And then they turn it into basically an Apollo 13 rerun. If you've never seen Apollo 13, the movie, or just look up the wiki entry for Apollo 13. They never landed, but they slingshotted around the moon. There were technical issues and everyone was worried. Big high drama, but they made it home, no problem. So my gut feeling says that they're going to launch and it's just going to be crappy footage, and no one's going to see anything. But if you want to go for broke, come on, do something fun. I want the UFO footage. That's what I want for Artemis.
I think I'm going to go for the explosion, Mark, and I'll tell you for why. Because, what was it, 1996? What would that make it? 30 years?
Oh, since Columbia?
Yeah.
86.
Oh, it's 86. Yeah, sorry. So however many years that is.
Remember, there was two of them. 86 was Challenger, and that blew up on the way
Challenger,
out.
that's the one I'm talking about.
And then Columbia was the one, if I'm not mistaken, was on the way back, and it just broke up in re-entry. And it's like, well, nobody really saw anything. 86 was the good footage. If anyone remember what happened with 86 that morning, the whole country just shut down, just staring at our televisions. We had no idea what to do. So yeah, that would be the big drama if you wanted to do it.
I mean, what's that? 40 years ago, almost to the year. That's why I'm doing it, because they do that ritual thing, don't they? They do those dates. They like their thing. They like the years. So.
Yep. And since there's so much footage, you can do a lot of callbacks to that. And there's callbacks no matter what you do. If you want to do the blow up on the launch pad, you're calling back to 1986. If you want to do the Apollo 13 thing, well, you're going all the way back to the early 70s. So yeah, or late, around 1970, give or take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's tons with the Artemis. Personally, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? Any one of those things is a possibility, right? But
Can I give you this thought?
Yeah, go.
25 years from the Challenger to 9/11, massive event.
Yeah,
it's 25 years since 9/11 this year.
Could be.
The alien.
I'm gonna be watching tomorrow anyway.
Dave might be right. He might be right.
Could be. Mark.
Yes.
You can't really, turn on. Not that we watch the news, but you can't really go anywhere for everybody worrying about this war in Iran.
War? What are you talking about?
What type of war it is? What type of thing it is? Where are you guys sitting here, particularly from the States? Your personal things, but as a general American, where are you all with that?
Oh, I am so disappointed in this from multiple standpoints. First off, I'm old enough to remember the Gulf War, and that was just a media bonanza. The early 90s, getting into Iraq. You got to remember that back then, we turned on our televisions and we never turned them off. It was like nonstop news coverage. And it ran without commercials. It was just not wall to wall. There were reporters embedded in just about every unit you could think of. And it was, from a media standpoint, it was nonstop thrills and chills. This is the opposite of that, which is they're not telling us anything. I wanted to come up with a term for it, like a media war, a propaganda war, whatever. But what I've kind of settled on is the classified war, which is most Americans don't know this either. And it is right after this whole thing kicked off, within not even a day, they passed something on our side which made all military actions in this event classified, which meant the government doesn't have to tell anybody anything officially. They don't have to tell the media. They don't have to tell the general public. And they're doing this for two reasons. One, because the media is so much faster than it was in the Gulf War. I mean, everything's real time. They don't want to give anybody real time data through the media of what's happening, or even close to real time data. And the other part is, well, we don't even want to show damage or anything that might be happening, in any sector. So they encourage other countries. It's like they've blocked as many social media things as they can that's over there. They've told other countries, if a social media person, films something and puts it up, if you can track it, fine them, threaten them with jail, and then they'll never ever do it, and then pull it down, and it'll never get out there. So what we've seen is, from our standpoint, and I know part of it's doing because of the markets. If you guys hadn't noticed already, every two Monday mornings in a row, just before the markets kick off here, Trump or somebody tied to the administration will come on and say, yeah, well, we're in the middle of peace talks. Everything's great. Everything's going as planned. And then Friday, after the markets close, like right after the markets close, they just start a new wave of bombing and new hits and this. And they're doing it because they don't want to spook anybody, which is brand new. It's uncharted territory for me and a lot of people in media, because okay, so it is something I've talked about for years, which is, if the media doesn't cover a war, is it really a war? Because there's no talking points for the general public to really latch on. It's like, oh yeah, okay, fine. We know about the Strait of Hormuz. We know that prices are going up, but we don't have any real-time footage of anything that's happening there. And because we're not reporting any casualties, or we're minimizing the casualties to such a degree where it's like, this point is like, well, like what, 10 people died, a dozen people died in this entire thing. It's like, really? You really believe that? So that's where we are. We're kind of in this state of, we know it's not going perfectly, but we don't have anything to base that on because no one's telling us anything. So the media, there's these, you've seen some of the press conferences with Hegseth and Trump and
who is Hegseth? Who is that crazy person?
Oh,
what is wrong with that?
He's a bit of a cliche, isn't he?
Jeez, I've never seen anything like
I
it.
will say this: his hair is outstanding, and his suits are perfect. I mean, if you look at his suit, it's like, wow, I don't know who does wardrobe and hair and makeup for this guy. They are spot on. But the rants, his energy, he's way too amped up, and the rhetoric that the United States is using right now. Let's get to the nitty gritty of this really fast. I don't want to dwell on the war too much, but I will talk about it a little bit, which is, why is this happening? It's happening, again, no accident. America 250. We waited for this, which was, okay, big anniversary, big party for us coming up July 4th. Lots of parades and everything. We're trying to make it to America's, number one. But we are going, for lack of a better term, full Star Wars empire, which is, we're going, and people don't remember what happened just before this. At the very beginning of the year, we took the Venezuelan oil fields in a weekend. We just took them, right? And then shortly after that, look this up in the media. It's out there, but you can't find it easily, which is, we took the Ecuador oil fields in a day. And just like, nobody, even our mainstream media didn't even cover it. You had to find it through other things. Oh yeah, by the way, we just marched in and took the Ecuador oil fields with no resistance whatsoever. And then now we are going after the reason why it's not been a secret. You guys know this. Everybody knows this. Iran is the last of the easy oil to acquire. And by easy, I mean compared to exploratory drilling where you have no idea where the oil is. We know Iran's got the oil. We've always wanted it. British Petroleum, you guys are tied to this in some way. Look up the early years of Iran, where British Petroleum ran the show. When British Petroleum pulled out, America had our eyes on it the entire time. We're like, one day we're going to have to go in and take it. And now we are. So the question is, at what cost? You know, do the ends justify the means? I don't know. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you what the plan is. There's the speculation is through the freaking roof. You know, it would not surprise me if at one point, I don't want to freak you guys out, it's a social event, but it would not, because this kind of ties into the survival guide you guys can download for free from me, which is, it would not surprise me if some sort of tactical nuke was used in this skirmish. It would not surprise me at all. Who sets it, where it's going to go, I have no idea. But that's the point. When I say all bets are off, it is a weird freaking year. It is a roller coaster. And as the Chinese saying goes, may you live in interesting times. So there you are.
Yeah, I think a false flag is due, surely. And there was talk about New York.
But
there was,
but
well,
where
New
would
York,
false
I've
flag
heard
be?
rumblings. New York, because you
Maybe.
California.
Yeah.
Can I hop in?
Hop in, yeah, shout.
Chris,
What?
my astrology brain
Yeah,
and watching transits. This is already written in the stars.
yeah,
They are only following the energies. So the oil star Pluto, who's very prominent now in Aquarius, is the oil. Uranus is chaos, and it's currently sitting in the Middle Eastern zone. And Uranus is the awakener. So Uranus is going to cause chaos to create awakening. So for me, we can talk about this, it's about acquiring this and whatever, but the meta game is so much bigger and so much more spiritual than our heads can even wrap around.
Sure.
And I think part of the reason we're not getting to find out what's going on is because to be in your spiritual essence, you have to be in surrender to uncertainty. And so they're not going to tell you what's going on. You're just going to have to trust the big guy.
Yeah. I hear you.
So what do you think? I mean, as this no war is progressing,
Yeah.
and you guys, from what we hear over here, you're just about to send ground troops in to get killed.
Yeah, and again, we don't know. I'm curious. Honestly, I'm really curious on where these first troops are going to go. You know, everyone thinks, well, they're going to go to the island, you know, the refining island, and try to take it, and they get hammered there. It's like, yeah, but if you're going to get hammered, do what? I mean, the sacrificial thing. Are you actually promoting, instead of like a false flag, like an obvious false flag? That still could happen. Could you do a false Custer's last stand type thing, where, you know, there was talk years and years ago about how the reinforcements could have helped Custer, but when Custer and his men went down, it became this big rallying cry, and then the Native Americans were cast in a different light over here for the rest of the duration. Hey, let me address one more thing there, which was because a lot of people, of course, point to Israel. It's like, well, Israel's dictating the war and blah blah blah. And yes, Israel is benefiting, no question. You know, since they're right there in the middle of it all, of course, they'd want all their enemies that are next to them, and they got a lot of enemies, they'd want them wiped out. Sure, they benefit more directly than most, but at the same time, don't forget that America doesn't do anything for free. So we are you're killing a bunch of birds with one stone, and in the end, we're not going to be happy until our troops eventually capture the oil fields, and you know, we control the petrodollar. A lot of this is tied to the petrodollar. Yes, to the comment there. Yes, of course, there's a bigger picture here written in the stars and spirituality, but the average person's not going to get that. You know, they're looking at their wallet, they're looking at the price of the pumps, and they're looking at the short term. You know, they can't think 15 minutes in front of themselves most of the time. So.
Well, Mark, should the lights go out, and should the unthinkable happen, that we all get tied into a war, then obviously, as truthers, since COVID, we've all looked at, you know, buying food, the survival guide that needs to happen. Right. And you've got one. You've had a survival guide for years.
I do. Yeah, I made a survival guide after Katrina. If you guys remember that, it was over 20 years ago. Katrina, you know, the big hurricane that wiped out New Orleans here in the States, and to where the entire city evacuated, and then only half of them returned. In fact, one of the people that evacuated was Patricia Steere. That's when she moved over to Texas. And funny. And I wrote a survival guide because of the people that came back, only half the population went back to New Orleans. It's still a mess down there, by the way. It's never fully recovered. Of those people, most of them never prepared for anything after that. Meaning, wait, so you got hit with this massive natural disaster. The power went out in the entire city and you were forced to evacuate the city. You come back and you're still not going to put any canned food or water or batteries or flashlights or anything. And it's like, and the denial, it's like, well, it's never going to happen again. It's like, it was supposed to happen the first time. So so I wrote a survival guide out of the frustration of Katrina. It's called Empty Shelves. It is, if you want it, there's a free copy. You can, Ian will give it to you. I sent him a copy.
I just posted it in the Flat Earth social Telegram group. So
Perfect.
If you want to grab it from there.
Anybody that might be watching live, if you're curious, you can just email me. My email address, of course, is in the body of every single video I make. It is msargentflatearth@outlook.com. You just email me and you just put it in the subject line. You don't even have to make a letter. You can say, I want survival guide, and then F you, sign whoever. Or don't sign it. I don't care. I'll send you the survival guide. It's really easy. You don't have to buy the printed one. If you want the printed one, there's copies out there, I'm sure, on Amazon, and have fun with it. But it is very, very basic. It is not one of those you're going to go live in the woods and eat bugs and try to trap animals, that sort of thing. It is an urban survival guide. It is meant for the Western world, which is all it does is says the power goes out and it's not coming back on anytime soon. So what do you do? And it kind of gets you in the right frame of mind. And that is, the basics, which is water, in this order: water, food, some sort of light source, and something to defend it with. And I know it's tougher over where you guys are because we're the Wild West over here, and we give guns to kids as soon as they get to first grade. That's not true. But it's not really. It used to be true, but it's not so much true anymore. No, I'm not kidding. We used to give guns to kids. But that's the basics, which is what you've heard of the 3-3-3s, which is 3 minutes of air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and depending on your body fat level. So it is a wonderful guide, if I do say so myself, covering all the basics and then everything you can think of. I just sat down. It's like, okay, if I was in Western culture, and that means United States, Britain, most of NATO, Canada, those places, as long as you keep the right frame of mind and you kind of know what to look for. I even have chapters on scavenging, which is all sorts of fun. It's like, hey, you want to start looting? Now's the time. And I know there's an ethical issue. It's like, you shouldn't tell people how to loot. It's like, why not? It's hard times. All's fair in the apocalypse. I even cover, there's even a small chapter on, because you guys probably know, no offense to the Mormons, but the Mormons, their religion dictates they store a year's worth of food and supplies at all times for whatever reason. So it's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you know any Mormons, that's the house to go after, but make sure they're not home. Obviously, you don't want that would be wrong. Right.
So, can I just say in the chat, Mark, Martin Liedke is in the chat. Just shouting it. So.
I'm sorry. I've got to look at chat. Sorry.
Apparently I smell.
Hi, Martin. I'm here tonight to do Friday and hang out. Oh, there's Trinity, man. Hey, man. So anyway, yeah, the survival guide's a lot of fun. It's fairly lighthearted. It's written in the same way I'm talking to you now. Little tongue in cheek. It's serious, but at the same time, there's no reason a dystopian landscape can't be amusing. Just go into it with the right frame of mind. We're just like, well, we're here, no matter where you go, there you are. And, just deal with it the best you can, but this will give you a head start. When your neighbors are panicking, running through the air, hands in the air, screaming down the street, you'll be like looking at them going, oh, you poor sap. What in the world? So there you go.
Excellent. Mark, there's a couple of things I've got on my list here. I've written down spirituality and God. Now, I know I don't really want to, it's a massive subject, but where do you sit with all that in terms of, clearly the flat earth is of a design where it's written a lot of in a book.
Yeah.
So where do you sit? on
Okay.
that?
I will tell you where I sit on my outlook, by the way. First off, it has never changed since I started doing this 11 years ago, which is if this roughly, again, I know you guys have different models. If this is roughly where we live right now, then it was built. This is a Chris Pontius model, by the way. One of his last. He built this for me actually after the Philip and Holly interview. He's like, you got to have a model to carry with you. So he made one for my briefcase. So if this is where we live roughly, then it was built, right? It was built by someone. It was created by someone. Therefore, that means there has to be some sort of creator. Fill in the name as you see fit. But it was something. I'll give you a couple quick stories. One was when I grew up in an evangelical Christian home, born again, with people that had John 3:16 tattoos, that sort of stuff. And then when I got to university, and I have to say university instead of college because college means something different for you guys. Thank you very much. We say college over here. You guys say university, whatever. At university, I realized, I didn't even know there was more than one religion when I got to school. And so when I got there, I opened up to a whole bunch of stuff. And then I got into the tech world. And as you guys know, the tech world is not very spiritual. Not really. Most of your gamer geeks and your high tech guys, they're mostly science. These are the guys that are going to get up early to watch Artemis. Let's put it that way. And I felt that when I did this, when I got into tech, I just was falling away. I never went to church when I was in Colorado. I was in Colorado for 20 years. And then when I got into flat Earth, that changed in terms of I became a much, much more spiritual person. Now, I still didn't go to church on regular Sundays, but my relationship with God changed, which was like, for example, and Ian probably already knows this, I made a decision early on back in 2015, 2016, which was I will never do anything malicious to anyone ever again. Meaning it's almost like there's certain rules. I call it the karma rules, which is it's one thing if you're kind of naive or ignorant, you can get away with certain things in this world. But if you know deep in your heart there's a creator and you still make the bad choices, something bad is gonna come back at you. I have seen it too many times to where one of the clues which I wrote was why the Apollo astronauts. You guys probably saw this. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon with Bart Sibrel from your neck of the woods. Which when he said, put your hand on the Bible and swear that you went to the moon. And the astronauts wouldn't touch that Bible. They treated it like it was made of uranium. And I believe that's because once you know, you can't make that choice ever again, not willingly. As the astronauts, basically you're rolling the dice against God. It's like, oh, you want to lie knowing it's right, it's right there all around you, and everything you say and do is being watched to a certain degree. So that's one of the things that I won't do anymore. I won't do anything malicious to anyone ever again. And not to say that I was. It's not like I kidnapped people beforehand, but but I'm way better than I was now. I don't even consider it now. The other part is the universe is much more intimate to me. Well, I was really worried that when I got into the whole flat Earth thing, that I would be helping condense the world, the universe down from this massive place to a studio apartment, and I thought people would freak out. But when it happens, people find comfort in that, which is, oh, so it was built for us. This place isn't an accident, and there were so many people that went. Some of the Christian conferences that were held over here, people kept saying the same thing, which was so many more people have gone back to the church or back to religion because of the flat Earth movement, because it was built for you, specifically you. There's a reason why you're here. You're not just some accident flying in the endless vacuum of space. So that should give you a little bit of idea of where my head's at.
Fair enough. Well, coming back from that, Mark.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, as such, I want to talk to you a little bit about AI. Now, I spoke to you last year about AI. You put out some various bits with AI, and I was dead keen because I saw it as a business opportunity. And since then, I've been doing adverts for
Sure.
my business, and they've been great. They're funny, they're whatever. But how far do you see this AI going now? Because I can't even tell if the war's real, let alone anything else.
It is. In fact, I did a speech for a Bible study group recently. My mother runs a Bible study group on Tuesdays, and she asked me to come and speak to them because they were getting, because it's not just AI is being used for. There was a pastor that someone made an AI version of, and of him giving a fake sermon podcast, and it looked very, very real. Although it was too perfect, you know what I mean? You can tell. It's like, one, he looked a little bit younger, and two, he was speaking too perfectly. There was no inflection. It was, it was straight dead on to the camera. His head never moved, that sort of stuff. But as far as AI goes, a couple things. One, AI commercials are going to basically dominate. It's not just you. Every advertiser that I have run into, that I have talked to, friends of friends, degrees of separation, have said the same thing. Well, you remember Rick Hummer, for example.
Yeah.
You know him. He didn't even hesitate 30 minutes when I showed him what AI can do. Because I made a couple things on my channel warning people. It's like, look, this is coming. He was like, oh my God. He was, I've got to buy this right this second. And he started making commercials immediately because it hits the three buttons really easy. It's incredibly cheap to do, incredibly cheap. It's very fast, and it's easy. If you even had two of those three things, you're going to convince people. All three, I mean, well, I showed you I probably sent you. I knew when McDonald's ran their Christmas commercial last year. Where you guys could look it up. It's called The Most Terrible Time of the Year, McDonald's commercial. And McDonald's did a full-blown AI. There isn't a single thing in there that isn't AI, even the inside of the McDonald's restaurant. Why would you shoot anything else? And normally that commercial would have cost millions of dollars, several millions of dollars, millions of pounds. They probably shot it just for credits, and Ian understands when I say this, maybe $1,000 in credits. Maybe. If that. The most of the money was probably spent on the firm itself that you hired. That would be just the man hours. You paid more for the hourly wage than you did for the technology to create it. So that's where it's going in terms of advertising. Short films, animation is going to change forever. The animated world. Movies, you guys, if you haven't seen the Brad Pitt versus Tom Cruise fight scene on top of a building, that's where movies are going. Movie stars, we don't need any new movie stars anymore, ever. Eventually, because now we can dig them up. They don't even have to be alive anymore. We can do movie stars that are long in the grave. We can bring them back. We can bring Elvis back if we wanted to. As far as there is going to be a bubble in the technology, all the people that are investing in AI. There is a race because there's all these tech companies that believe that eventually if you hit critical mass with AI, which they've already done, the AI has absorbed every picture, every music, everything it can. It's absorbed everything. That sentience is not possible. It's not going to happen, but it will be able to mimic things so well that it doesn't matter. So, I mean, you've probably done it, most of your phone, your early tech support stuff, when you're calling into a thing, the first 5-6 minutes of whoever you're talking to is going to be AI because they're not bad. They're actually, the responses are pretty good. You code enough stuff. It's not going away. Will it become sentient? No, sentient and take over. It's not going to be Terminator. It's not going to do that. Skynet. It's not going to take over the world. It's not going to launch the missiles. But at the same time, is it going to take some jobs? Yeah, you bet. There's a lot of really mundane jobs where people are just typing things and AI will be able to do it. Anything that was done on a keyboard, AI will be able to do sooner or later. The robots in your home that are run off AI, no. I mean, I've got a vacuum cleaner over here that it bumps into everything. It scuffs up every freaking thing. And it doesn't know how to get over an extension cord. What am I supposed to do there? So, but AI don't invest in AI because that bubble's already happening as we speak, but it's not going away, and you will see more of it. Okay, I'll tell you this: if you ever get a video, I'll boil it down really fast. If you ever get a video that seems too good to be true, it's probably AI. So don't share a video because it tugs on your emotional heartstrings immediately, because that's what they're gunning for. Somebody figured out pretty quickly, in fact, not even a couple months ago, which was if they could hit your emotional buttons first with an AI video, you're more likely to believe it. There's a wonderful video out there of supposedly inside a Walmart store where they have aluminum cages next to the register off next to the wall, filled with people, shoplifters that are being held for the police, right? And you're thinking that's kind of an odd thing, and it's getting millions and millions and millions of hits, and it looks real enough. And most people, because it's emotional, everybody wants shoplifters arrested. But you realize after if you stare at it for more than 60 seconds, you're like, wait a minute, how'd they even who even took them to the cages? There's got to be like civil rights issues. There's no way legally that would ever happen, but there it is on video for you, and you emotionally want it to happen, so you're more likely to believe it. So when you see something, if it looks too good to be true, don't share it unless you show it to a couple people. But ask people, it's like, does this look like AI to you? And if in the comment sections, if there's more than 3 or 4 people that say, oh yeah, totally AI, they don't even have to give a reason, then it's probably AI. There you go.
I mean, yeah, my thing was to try and get in front of it, to try and use it for the benefit of my business, and also disseminating truth, trying to get something AI which we can all create. We can't always do a YouTube video. We can't always do this, but AI has become so simple to use. Disseminating truth that way, I thought would be a good thing. It'd probably kill us all in the end, but it's probably a good thing to be in front of it now.
It can be used for good and bad, like anything. I mean, no different than television or radio or the internet in general. AI does some really great stuff. Look, I made some fantastic little fake moon things. I had some fun with that, and you made that wonderful thing that you made, and I love the fact that it was nominated for an award that you didn't even.
It was amazing. Yeah, it really. I couldn't believe it either. I was well chuffed.
But because you put so much in there, and you know full well that the set scenes, that here's the difference. The period piece stuff that you put together, you couldn't even do in real life. It would cost. No. It would be so incredibly expensive. It would cost
millions just in costumes.
Millions and millions of dollars, and take so much time to do. And that's what AI is really changing, is that the creativity process, it's rough, because I see a lot of fake podcasts out there. People, you don't even have to do your own podcast anymore.
No, that's true.
You can have ChatGPT generate the text based on whatever topic you want, and then you could say, give me a host. You guys have probably seen, you're wondering why you've seen a lot of Asian podcasts recently, that's all AI. And I don't know why they kept they choose this type of guy, but it's always, the Asian with glasses and speaking with a perfect American accent. It's like, okay, sure. And people get their war coverage because, from this guy who's not even real. So, and investment advice.
Yes, imagine. Mark, moving on from that, I've got something else I want to talk to you about. You don't talk about it much, which is, I noticed Martin Leake is in the chat as well, but his sort of speciality, where are you with the hidden history, the Tartaria, the whole of that kit and caboodle? Because that's an enormous piece of truth to delve into, but you don't talk about it too much.
I don't, but that's only because it's pretty specific, and I have to kind of stay at the 50,000 foot level when I do my stuff. Hey, look, I'm not gonna. There's a lot of people that really, including Martin, that specialize in it. So I don't want to compete with them because they're doing such a great job anyway. Do I like it? Yeah. Is it in my top 5 of things to talk about? No, that doesn't mean that I don't believe it. It's just that it's not something that I've been doing over the years. So I just
I noticed you don't talk much about it at all. I just wondered what you thought of it. Where your consensus of it actually happening is.
Why not? If all the world's a stage and we are just players in it, that's Shakespeare, by the way, if you guys already knew. Which is then terraforming this place and changing history, doing set design in the middle of a civilization, changing things in the middle of a civilization. Why wouldn't you do it? We do it in software all day long. Why wouldn't you do it here? And by the way, I'm still a huge believer in simulation theory. If you guys have never watched it, please look up, write this down, or Ian will send you the link to look up the red laser DMT experiments.
Oh my God. Oh my God, they're good.
Oh yeah, mind blowing. Which is
Have
like,
you,
oh no,
have you seen that? Have any of you seen that red laser DMT experiment?
oh, it's just, I mean, that's code right there, which is if basically if you're on, and it's so genius because you can only see it when you're on DMT and it can't be recorded, so you can't prove it to anybody, which means to me it's like it's absolutely real. And because everybody does the exact same thing when they're on it, so basically you take a red laser, horizontal laser, and you widen the beam just a little bit to where it's like, I don't know, maybe an inch wide, and you put it on a wall, any wall in a dark room, darkish room, doesn't even have to be perfectly dark, and then you take a friend and you hit them with DMT and you say, look at the laser, and they all do the same thing. They get closer to it and closer to it, and finally their head is just pinned, their eye is just pinned against the wall, and they're going, I can see it, I can see it. It's like, see what? It's like, I can see the code, I can see through the wall. There are layers of code behind the wall, and I don't mean in the drywall, I mean actually behind the wall, and every one of them does the same freaking thing.
They have, yeah. There's like over 3,000 people who've done this thing.
Oh yeah, but
We've got someone in the audience that's done it, Mark.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So to that point, sorry, circle back to Tartaria, which is is it possible the changes have been made in this civilization while it's been happening and things have been ruined? We already know that time has changed. Also the obvious, which is like, what year is it right now? 2026. Really? According to whom? Right? It's like,
exactly.
And don't forget, that's just the Western culture, 2026. You go to China, it's double that. You go to some parts of the Middle East, it's double that. It's only 2026 because we say it's 2026. No different than the American dollar. Why is the American dollar strong? Well, because we say so. There's no backing for it. It's just, they call it fiat currency. It's like force of will. Look it up. It's like, oh no, we might as well have guns pointed at you. It's like, because we say so. So anyway, yes, Tartaria, absolutely possible, real. Why wouldn't it be? I wouldn't. I'm not going to question it. Now at that point, do I think that some of the people that get into, no offense if anyone's listening here, that get into mud floods, that say that every single freaking rock formation, it's a slippery slope, that is tied to some sort of old civilization? It's like, well, you might be reaching, but at the same time, the lines are blurred so much. It's like, just don't jump on every rock. Not every rock is a tree, and not every hole in the side of a cliff used to be a skyscraper.
A lot are though, Mark. A lot are. Just saying.
Well, yeah, sure, but not every one of them. I mean, when you're really into it, 100%, everything I look at, it's like, okay, I get it. So, but anyway, I let other people do it, but Tartaria, I got no problem with.
Okay, a couple more things. Last couple of things from me, Mark. We mentioned earlier, and Dave's here as well, about this event we're having in Spain. And I've spoken to you about it as well. You asked me the dates.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of seeing you there this year? Now, Dave, I know Dave's coming over, and God knows who else will be coming. But is there something we can see you there?
I might. However, there's a caveat to this, which is I am currently involved in a mainstream project.
There we are.
Yeah. Normally be like, yeah, you know what, I might make it this year. But there is I don't know. I can't confirm anything after the summer because there's a mainstream project which I finally got into, which is very mainstream. Very, very mainstream, to where I had to sign an NDA. I can't tell you what streaming platform it's on. I can't tell you how many episodes there'll be. I can't tell you what,
Can you tell us what it's about?
Nope.
Oh, great. Well.
I cannot tell you what it's about. Only that it is something I wasn't expecting. But I was hoping for some years ago, but then the pandemic. I'll give you a quick comparison, right, for this, because again, this crowd, and the reason, look, the NDA is really serious, which is if I blow the NDA, they can wipe me off the show whenever they want. But I'll compare it to this. Has anyone heard of the show The Amazing Race?
Yes.
Probably. Amazing Race has been on for years and years and years. I think over 20 years at this point. And the Amazing Race reached out to Flat Earth back in 2020.
Wow.
And they said, hey, can you put a team together? Called me out of the blue, said, hey, can you put a team together we want a Flat Earth team to be tied to a YouTube only season where it's only YouTube, big YouTube creators. We weren't that big in the way of YouTube, but we were known more, we've done mainstream stuff. So we're kind of up a notch over YouTube creators in a lot of cases. I said, would you and Patricia be interested? And I was going, oof, I don't know. Because I watched, in fact, they made me watch season 31 of the entire season. And then just for bonus, I watched season 1. Anyway, the point was the whole thing, it's like, why haven't we seen this? That's because the whole thing collapsed because we were the only group. Every other group except for ours said that they wanted money up front, because when you do this, and this is why I'm kind of leading into this, when you do a show like this, you are sequestered. You are off the internet entirely for the shooting of the show, which means no emails, no texts, no nothing, right? And you're asking people like the Paul brothers and Shane Dawson and PewDiePie and take your pick. All these guys to be, oh yeah, by the way, you have to be off the internet entirely for at least for a month. That's a death sentence for social media for some people. Mm-hmm. No revenue at all. I mean, plus you have to climb back in. And so all these guys were saying, you need to compensate us before we even think about not turning off our channels, but going away from our channels. And they wouldn't do it. The Amazing Race said no. But we were the only ones that didn't care. And so they ended up, what they ended up doing, they just scrapped the whole season. So it should have happened. Something like this should have happened back in 2020. Now we're fast forward to 2026 and it's way better.
So I mean, you haven't told us what it is, but is it a race around the world? Is it one of those, or is it completely different?
Nope. And I can't tell you any more than that.
Okay.
I can't.
Text me later, and I won't tell you.
Ian, I cannot tell you. I cannot.
And when's this full mark? When did he?
All right, so I will be, and again, I'm letting you guys know in advance because I don't want the rumors to start spreading. So everybody here knows. It's like, what happened to Mark Sargent? Is he?
Where did he go?
What happened to him? I will, if everything goes fine, I will be gone from the internet from the end of May through the end of June, minimum. So, and by that I mean no one will be able to get a hold of me at all. So if that happens, great. But here's the suck part. The really bad part is after shooting, I still can't tell anybody until it airs because they don't want, spoiler alert. That's why they call it spoilers. So I cannot tell anybody until the show airs. And when it does, if everything goes the way I hope, Flat Earth will be in a whole nother level, whole nother class.
Excellent, Mark.
Yeah.
So that's good. I can't wait for that. Like I say, text me, let me know. So, Mark, we're coming up to the hour mark now, and I've run out completely of things to ask. Apart from my last question, which is, and I'm going to ask this to everybody now that comes, are there any regrets in your personal or business life that you have because of Flat Earth?
No, because Flat Earth got to, it allowed me to do things that I never, ever thought I would do. Yes. Did I have to exchange, the normal friends that I had? Did they distance themselves from me?
Standard, yeah.
Right. And I'm not being offensive when I say normal friends. I mean, you guys are great, but I got a whole new family. I exchanged friends for family, which was the Flat Earth groups that I've been hanging out with for over a decade. But it gave me a chance to do things I never didn't even have a desire to do. I just made kind of a deal with the universe, and I said, okay, I'll just say yes to whatever happens. And I said yes to the podcast, and yes to the interviews, and yes to to the conferences. It's like, hey, you want to come out to Sweden and open up the Gather Festival, and you'll be on stage being interviewed by such and such. It's like, sure, I know nothing about this festival. It's not even conspiracy based. I'll do it. Why wouldn't I? So I got a chance to do some fantastic stuff, meet great people, travel to interesting places, and had opportunities that otherwise no. So sorry. The short answer is no. There are no regrets. Why would I have any regrets? Here I am in 2026, still doing it, on the verge of breaking through, into something that's even bigger than that. All because I followed an idea and didn't let peer pressure get to me, and didn't let the media get to me, to where, because, you read I don't read the comment sections that much, but, the comments like, you're an idiot, you're a jackass, you should shut down your channel. But there were so many other people. It's like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to lead to something very, very cool. And so I just stayed the course, tried to never waver, tried to never change my demeanor when I was doing this. And here we are.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Mark, out of all of the people that I know that I came onto Flat Earth with, you were the one that woke me up, and you've woken up countless of other people. And I have to say, you've not wavered in your demeanor at all. You've been exactly the same for 10 years, the most solid sort of flat earther that we probably have. So
thank you.
Yeah, well done for you. Mark, I've got to end it there for me, but okay. I am going to ask people if they have any questions, or is there anything else that you'd like to mention that you've got coming up, Mark, perhaps? Apart from the thing you can't tell us about.
Well, yeah, I'm doing Strange World, a podcast. Oh,
you got the Strange World show tonight, right?
Strange World show tonight, and which I do every week, every Tuesday. Other than that, I will say this, this will kind of tickle you. The Behind the Curve, which is divisive to say the very least. And if things go well, by the way, there will be a sequel to this put out by the same network that does the show. I have almost no doubt, because it's 10 years later now. By the time it gets done, Behind the Curve, we shot that in 2017. It was released in 2018, and then got picked up at the end of 2018, pushing into 2019. But what it did was this shows you what mainstream is. And I know people get kind of down on it. It's like, well, mainstream. It's like, look, eyeballs are eyeballs, and the exposure, you can't put a price tag on it, which is, I get calls. I have 2 schools this week. I have a school on Thursday, for example, because it was on Netflix, because Flat Earth made it to Netflix. Schools now, science teachers, sociology teachers, psychology professors, whatever it is, they use that as a rubber stamp. It's like, oh, well, it's certified by Netflix, like that's certification. I'm going to show it to my students because there's no bad language in it. There's no nudity. There's no violence or anything like that. And they will show it to students. Flat Earth is part of the syllabus for universities and high schools all over the place, not just the United States, in the UK and in parts of Europe. And it's just amazing for me. And I ask them every time, it's like, why are you contacting us? Oh, because we had to watch Behind the Curve. I mean, what do you mean had to watch? It's like, oh, that's part of the syllabus. The professor made us watch it. And the reason why they do it, sorry, last thing before we get to questions, which is they do it because kids, Gen Zers specifically, lend credibility to social media branding. So if Netflix has a sticker on it, or Amazon or Disney or whoever it is, the kids automatically are more interested in it because they are told the most valuable thing in the world right now is social media status. And so they now watch it because like any professor is like, I just want to get my kids interested. So once the word got out, it's like, oh yeah, show them this documentary. Great, fantastic. Flat Earth now is in schools. We didn't even have to push it, which is what I love about Flat Earth. We don't have to push anything. I said to the show people when I was talking to them, I go, we generate mainstream metrics on a garage sale budget. That's what we do. We have done so much with so little by comparison to all these other people. They're spending millions and millions of dollars to try to make some sort of impact. And we just say the words. And it's like, oh no, it just keeps taking off. Just channels everywhere. Keep doing it. Anyway, there you go.
We're fighting a 6,000-year-old blood drinking cult with memes.
It's not even a new concept. No, and people are treating it like it's a brand new invention, like we just invented sliced bread. It's like, right? It just blows my mind.
I noticed, Nathan, hello, hopefully you're watching still. He's put down there, flat Earth is part of education for the purposes of mockery. And that may well be the part of it. But I think once you're streaming it and you're going up against it and answering those preconceived questions, it becomes very important that it's in schools, I think.
No, he's right in that the professors, part of the reason the professors do it, it's like, look, trust me, I know where his head's at, which is the professors saying, well, I will make science look better because I will show them a flat earth thing. And the flat earthers, they're obviously crazy. As much as that statement is true, I still get, of course, I'm not going to get the whole classroom. If I even get 10% or even 5% of the classroom, I'm fine with it, because they will contact me outside of the class and say, hey, can you send me links? Hey, can you send me a t-shirt? Hey, can you send me whatever it is? Or students, they'll go out of their way. There's a wonderful middle school clip that I put out there some years ago, a middle school, which would be grades 7 and 8 for you. And which they put out they were holding their own, I mean, granted, it was fairly short-lived, but their own flat earth club inside the school without any teacher supervision at all. And they were recording this, and they were showing some of our videos to the class. Now, granted, it was an unruly mob in that class, but the fact that they were doing this on their own, kids like the unusual, they like the edgy stuff, and if flat earth is a trigger mechanism for them, they'll latch onto it. It's why we're all over TikTok, for example. If they take stuff from YouTube and transfer it to TikTok and it generates clicks, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to generate more and more of it. Find me a major YouTube channel that hasn't done a flat earth video. It's not that this happened by accident. They know because it generates metrics. And so, yeah, there will be a lot of people making fun of it. You bet. But inside that, again, that's how so many people, not necessarily the people in this room, but so many people that I know, they got into it because they heard it from somebody else. They had the same reaction that I did, which was flat earth is the stupidest thing ever. I'm never, ever going to look at it. And the next thing you know, I'm losing sleep because I just keep clicking on more flat earth videos.
10 years in and we're doing this. That's good. So, Mark, where do you think flat earth's going this year? I happen to think, particularly with what you've got coming up, we've got something coming up here as well. I haven't told you about that. I'll tell you off air.
Yeah.
I think the whole swell of flat earth and maybe all truths is so prominent this year. Where can it go?
Well,
I mean, what could actually happen? What could be the best result for us after just worldwide acceptance of flat earth, maybe?
If it goes the way I want it to go, then there'll be a tipping point to where it just comes up in everyday conversation, and science then kind of they're looked at. There's certain topics, like I've seen it with the NASA thing. I look through different forums, and when NASA, like the Artemis thing, keeps coming up and it keeps getting rated, but the rating 1 through 5 stars are always less than 3. Which is beforehand, it's like NASA always got 5 stars. Always, always, always. Now, because of us, people look at NASA and, behind the scenes, they're like, yeah. I mean, it's a great conversation starter, right? Same thing with science in general. Science will be diminished if we get to that certain point. It was like, okay, science was really, really wrong about something really, really important. And so, what do we do with it then? I don't know. Got to figure that out. We haven't gotten there yet, but the tipping point is way closer than you might think. Every platform seems to absorb flat earth instantly. TikTok is just jammed full of it. BitChute and Bradian and Rockfin and Rumble. If you make a thing, because people know that the word has gotten out there, which is why all the big channels in YouTube did it, which is flat earth generates metrics, which is, doesn't matter if you love it or hate it, you have to address it. That's one of my favorite things about flat earth, which is it's almost impossible to ignore entirely. You have to address it. And whether you love, like any producer will tell you, it doesn't matter whether you love or hate a topic, as long as you're talking about it. So, be proud of it. You guys will be able to sit back at one point and go, yeah, we did that. We helped that, which is why part of the reason I'm so close to getting this thing with the mainstream, which is I told people, I go, look, if this happens, I owe it all to the community, because they are the ones that got us here. Every single person that made content, every single person that made a comment or shared a video, that's how a lot of us got to where we were. It's not me, you know, it's the topic, and we're people open enough to look into it themselves and share it.
Yeah, good point. Excellent, Mark. Thank you. Listen, has anybody got a question for Mark?
If
Tony, you
What?
generally have. Hold on, Mark.
Okay, who is this? Oh, here, let me.
Tony, explain.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, one of the points I'd like, as far as I can tell, Flat Earth is getting stronger and stronger. And more and more people are interested or even becoming, shall we say, believers in the Flat Earth.
Yeah.
But there are two things coming up or that have been growing over the period of time that are against this. The first one is that flat earthers with social media platforms are scoring own goals against each other all the time. They are hating against each other, calling each other shills or whatever.
Sure.
Surely, can't we put some of these differences behind us and become more courteous to each other? Because it's a big world out there that is against us, and we're starting now just to hit upon each other, and that really upsets me. The second part of that
Okay,
is
go ahead.
that the world out there, i.e. the social media platforms, are ganging up to reduce our viewership in whichever way they want to do it. We all know how our viewership is being eroded by the YouTube and whatever.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, maybe in the months to come, that maybe the likes of YouTube may relent on the amount of what they've been doing to us. Censorship, yeah. That they may allow us to have more views.
Okay. Good questions, by the way. And you were the one that sent me the email, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. The okay, to address the first point first, which is the divisiveness in the community. I'm not being cute when I say this, is that I'd rather have our community kind of butting heads than being bored and resting on their laurels. It's always good to have, you know, people kind of squaring off when they're not doing anything. You know, if there's no, one of our big problems is we lack a common enemy. You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson only does so much and then he pulls back. Brian Cox, same sort of thing on your side of the fence. He only goes, what? Yeah, Brian Cox, not great.
He's it's something about remark that makes me want to hurt him in a way that I shouldn't say. There's something so slimy about Brian Cox.
Remember, there's only 3 media scientists in the world right now. There's Neil Tyson from the United States, there's Brian Cox from the UK, and there's Michio Kaku from Japan. Amazing. There's only 3 of these guys, you know, that represent, you know, most of the Western world. So, but as far as the people fighting, look, it's going to happen, which is we have different personalities. That will change when cross my fingers, I don't want to jinx it. If we hit critical mass, that'll go away. You know, once it becomes cool enough, when it becomes more cool to talk about it than less cool, than, you know, less controversial, then that'll kind of fall away because there'll be so many more people to talk about it with.
Mark, we just had a comment from the back there, and she's right. We don't have enough women. Well, I say that we didn't used to have enough women in Flat Earth, and I think now there's a lot of women in Flat Earth.
Oh no, there's always been women in Flat Earth. The problem isn't the Flat Earth side of things. It's that women just have a harder time on the internet. And look, I've done enough conferences and meetups over the years. I asked women in the audience because, like, when we did the Vegas conference, I could have sworn that like 35-40% of the audience was women. And I'd be like, hey, why are you here? And well, you know, Flat Earth was flat Earth is a message of hope. It's not sinister like other conspiracies, you know, and women, you know, are drawn to that. But at the same time, they don't want to make content because of the internet. The internet is still an awful place where women have to tread carefully. You know, they can't put their contact info out ever. You know, most of them don't even like disclosing what city they're in, because men, you know, are
They're nuts.
yeah. Well, they develop that drunk mentality thing. This sounds too simple, but it's true. I've watched it too many times, which is when men go to a bar after 3 or 4 drinks, every woman in that bar is like, oh yeah, I've got a chance. I could absolutely pull this off, right? Same thing on the internet. After 3 or 4 drinks at home, if a guy sees a woman's picture, it's like, oh yeah, I got a chance with her. Wow, her phone number's there. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. I'm calling her. And they do. And so, or show up at her house. It just gets weird. So I'm trying to encourage as many women as I can in our community, but the same thing, the internet rules apply, which is like you got to have a tough skin. And if any people here want to make a channel, you know, I'll give you the advice I gave Patricia, who she did not take, which was do not read the comments. I mean, you can allow comments, don't read them, because you will be drawn. It's called negative bias, which is you read 9 wonderful comments. You're great. You're wonderful. I love you. 10th comment. You suck and I hate everything about you. You will only care about that comment and you will just, it'll ruin your day or maybe even your week. So, but no, the women are always there. In fact, flat Earth compared to other conspiracies has I mean, you guys are a great example.
We've seen a massive change.
Yeah.
Since before COVID, it was all men. There were very little women in it, and since COVID, I think it sort of sparked the wake up in women, and we have more women than men, I think, come to our things.
You are right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Work and men haven't. Men fight with each other because they aren't prepared to take responsibility.
No, we don't. Well, that's because we let you do it. If you do that bit and we do the fighting bit.
No, boy.
So that could be it. That could be it. We haven't done the inner work, and maybe our egos.
Because we're moving into masculine energy, and the men are going to have to own it.
I think it's about time though, because I think men have been emasculated over a period of 10, 20 years with the media and the
That's why we got
more women will get into.
Be a stuffed on there. Seriously is.
All right, say that again.
The reason they have prostate cancer, and this is before the jabs, is that because men's sexual energy or their power is stuck in their lower areas.
Right.
And so that's called dis-ease.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There you go. Excellent. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think there's going to be this segues into the other question that Tony had, which was more women will get into it. More women will make content once we hit critical mass, and the censorship, Tony, will kind of not necessarily fade away, but it'll change because it'll be overwhelmed by mainstream powers. For whatever reason, we ran the first 3 years. You got to remember, the only thing that slowed us down at all was COVID. Literally, I mean, 2019, all of 2019 into the first couple of months of 2020, we could do no wrong. We were running absolutely unopposed, even though the Senate hearings and, you know, they were trying to ratchet down and demonetize as much as they could over here in the States with YouTube. Once COVID happened, you know, I mean, that it changed, it morphed, because then everybody went home and then they started watching more internet stuff after they ran out of things to watch on streaming. And, you know, then it changed. But if this mainstream thing happens, and I'm hoping it will, because the way I'm playing it is I want to sensationalize it. I want to make it way even more provocative and polarizing than what we are normally. If this happens, so many people will be talking about it that, you know, women won't even care. I think, you know, the channels, established female channels will just start making content about it anyway, because it'll turn into a big reaction tidal wave that'll take over. So as far as censorship goes, it can only go so far. I mean, think of what we've done. We still do amazing stuff even with censorship. But it doesn't matter, because the first 3 years that we were doing this, from 2015 to 2018, ran completely unchecked. No, there was nothing, no censorship at all. And then after a while, somebody put the, didn't put the brakes on it, but they definitely took their foot off the gas. And to where, again, when our government, when the U.S. government runs a Senate hearing and they talk specifically about flat Earth, you're doing something right. So
yeah, excellent. Mark, we've got a couple of questions. Hold on. This is Addy. You may have seen Addy and Hitomi have done a book. They've done a talk here with us. Mark, I'll pass you through.
Hey Mark.
Hi.
Thanks so much for your work.
Yeah.
I'm a former NASA scientist and kind of well, I like hard questions. I hope this is one of them. Why do you think the mainstream would allow you to do that? Because all they're interested in is actually to keep us stupid and ignorant and everything.
Let me answer that one first. If you have more, that's fine. I've said this for years, which is going all the way back. It's like, why would you? In fact, I was curious myself because when I was watching this from 2015 to 2018, of how well we were just crushing it. I mean, we were the binge topic on YouTube, no question. There's wonderful documentaries where they were interviewing programmers, and it's like, oh no, that was the topic for 3 years. I think we were being used to lessen the blow. They were using flat Earth to opening up minds for something potentially more sensational, something else. Like if you were going to, set up something like a Project Bluebeam or introduce an alien civilization or introduce, I don't know, a third world war, something like that, you'd want the people to be more open-minded to a lot of stuff. And so I think that was their thought. That was just a guess. But I was curious myself because I come from a programming tech background, and I know how easy it would have been to clamp us down to where we would get no traction at all. And it would not have been difficult programming. They showed that once 2018 kicked in. It's like, oh no, we're going to monetize you 70% less. They did it in a weekend. So that's what I think they're doing right now. Is the powers that be they're using us, but even though they're using us, I don't know even if they knew what the side effects of that would be. Is that going to help? Kind of. I don't know the answer to everything, but that's my guess. If I was going to do it, that's what I would do. It's like, oh yeah, flat Earth. Let's crack open everyone's head like a walnut and let them be super open-minded to stuff. And then when we introduce something else that otherwise they may just completely, again, if an alien ship shows up in the sky 10 years ago, people would be way more resistant to it than they are now. And that's partly because of us. I mean, now we'd be like, oh, I mean, for me, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I'd probably just get a bag of popcorn, set up a chair, be like, okay, what are we doing?
So the continuation to that is, do you think they might try to introduce some kind of idea, to bring in their demons and stuff to say that they created us, some kind of extraterrestrials, whether from outer space or from bigger Earth, and say, hey, yeah, we created you and you are or whatever, and try to messages like that.
Eventually, I mean, there's been so many sci-fi novels and movies and television shows that have talked. I mean, I think we've covered just about every angle that could happen when it comes to this. Almost every angle, between Twilight Zone episodes and Outer Limits and take your pick, and miniseries. That's very, very possible. I mean, eventually, sooner or later, if enough people, what's the old saying? When all the students are in their seat, the teacher arrives, which is if enough people wake up to, this world is not what you think it is. Eventually, who's responsible or who's going to pretend to be responsible? Because then, that's always a possibility, is going to show up, and then there's going to be a big section of people that are going to believe it or not believe it. So if a giant golden egg spaceship lands in Paris, you're going to have two camps of people. One camp is going to be, it's like, wow, they do look like the people from Avatar, and not be that impressed. But at the same time, there's going to be churches that'll start up immediately. Like, we must worship the blue people. Right? And it'll be very, very divisive no matter what the message goes, but opening their minds up to it first, that would be a priority. And that's not an easy thing to do.
Interesting. I'm wondering, Mark, if there's going to be if they're planning a kind of hit piece with it. Because obviously
why
it
not?
sounds like it's going to be a series. Sounds like it's going to run for a few episodes.
Why not? Why not tie it to Artemis? I mean, that's again, it's go all the way back to the beginning of this, which is Artemis would be a great opportunity. Nobody's done anything since 1972. You fake a ship to go up there, and then you fake the production, where it's like, oh wow, look at that! What's that in the distance? Is it lights? What does it mean? And then you can go from there, and it would be riveting television. People would watch it. People are really hungry for the truth right now. We're a big
It's an easy place to steer people, isn't it? If you've got a lot of people watching that.
A lot of people, they want that. People love a mystery. Oh, human beings love a mystery so much. And all they have, the mainstream media has never really given them one. And then now is their chance to do it. And if they do it, you guys at least will be in a state of mind to where, like, okay, you'll be looking at it critically. You'll be looking at it like, okay, you'll start squinting. Like, what are they trying to do? But don't be surprised if your neighbor is like, holy smokes, worship the blue people. Come on, we're going to church.
Mark, we got a question from a lady member of our audience here.
Yeah. It's not so much a question as a bit of an observation, a brief one.
I lost weight. Yes.
that too. Well done. I've been looking at the Hebrew Chaldean numerology system, which is what I understand is used by people in positions of control.
Yeah.
And Artemis 2 adds up to the number 22, which is seen, the symbolism for it is a fool with a knapsack of errors on his shoulders. And the fool is also shown as a jester in some other sort of visuals of that numerology.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to me that, you were talking about different scenarios that might come off what's happening on April Fool's Day. And so it just struck me. So I just totted it up. And sure enough, it's number 22, which is the fool with a knapsack of errors on his shoulders. And it does smack to me of.
Sounds like it's going to blow up.
They're going to do something. Yeah, there's going to be something wrong with it.
Oh, can I just say, the Artemis rocket, Mark, is 322 feet long.
Yeah.
322.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I want something dramatic to happen. I really, really do. I think that I've got a feeling something will, because this was kicked down the road. This wasn't even going to go. They had fuel problems, unless they were already deliberately, trying to kick it down to April 1st. But this year, I said it months and months ago. I always wished and hoped that they would, because you got nothing to lose. There are so many distractions out there in the world right now that if you just even if you just went a routine, boring mission and nothing happened, right? 10 days of us watching these four idiots in a capsule, supposedly, that's going to be a boring production. Even if that was the case, most people wouldn't even give a crap, because, like, well, unless they're looking out the window, that's what we're waiting for, is the camera footage. Remember, there's supposed to be stars in space. They've never been, like, Artemis 1, no stars in space. Artemis 2, why would there be stars in space? Whatever happens, we're going to dissect it 6 ways from Sunday, and it'll be spectacular. It'll make that whole Tesla Roadster in space seem like nothing. This could be great, unless they make it super dramatic, and then no one's going to listen to us anyway, because people will be like, if it blows up, for example, and we say anything like, "Wow, I always knew it was going to blow up."
How dare you?
Yeah, it's like, those heroes, those wonderful, oh man, it's like it wasn't real, but we'll catch hell for that. So but it's the dramatic. It would be dramatic, and it would kind of coincide with the whole war thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Ladies and gentlemen, any more questions for Mark?
Any other questions? Were there any questions? Did anybody type any questions in chat? That
The final question, just tomorrow's full moon in Libra, and following on from what this lady said, it's full moon in Libra, and it illuminates. The full moon is when something gets illuminated, and it's the scales of justice. So there's something out of balance. It's going to be illuminated.
Thank you. Excellent bit of info there. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it now. I'm literally going to watch the whole thing. But this is where I'm going to, Mark, we'd like
What?
to say, on behalf of everyone here, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mark Sargent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The nicest man, the most genuine man in Flat Earth, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Mark. And
Thank
we
you.
will see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Hey!
See ya.